Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm back again with those fabric tags that we made in a previous video, and I've made a few more so that I've got, you know, a few more to use. Again, probably being way over ambitious, thinking I'm going to get through so many of these. But I thought let's come along and do some fabric tags with fabric pockets. Now we may do just fabric pockets, we may do lace pockets. I'm not quite sure yet. It will kind of depend, you know, what looks best on the tags. But I've got a bunch of these, you know, what do you call these? Upholstery fabric samples. Now these work fantastic for things like this because they are just, you know, tiny fabric pieces, and of course they tend to be thicker fabric because they're upholstery fabric. And they've been sort of cut down as well. So, you know, they've been cut with a nice straight edge and things like that. So they're kind of quite a good one to use if you've got any of those. And, you know, you can sometimes pick them up in shops over here. I'm trying to think. I think a shop called Dunelm over here, I think they normally have some fabric upholstery samples, you know, in there. Trying to think where else. I got mine from Laura Ashley when they were closing down, my local Laura Ashley shop. And I think I'm kind of running out, although I don't feel like I should be. So maybe I've kind of just moved them and I can't find them. But yeah, I did have a whole bunch. So I hope that I'm not running out. I hope I've just lost them or mislaid them for a bit. And, you know, they're going to turn up. But anyway, I digress now. So gone off at a complete tangent there, boring you with how I'm worried I'm running out. So I'm just going to cut my threads off. So all I've done is taken some ivory card, cut it to a tag shape, and then I have just covered it with fabric, stuck the fabric on with glue. If you didn't see my last video, you know, just covered the whole thing with Fabri-Tac, and then glued the fabric down, and then I've just gone round the edge with the sewing machine and obviously, you know, stitched it down. So I'll just get rid of my threads there from the sewing machine. Okie dokie, like that. Okay. Oops. Honestly, sometimes I'm shocked at how many threads I kind of gain in just like the smallest amount of sewing. Just, I mean, who'd have thought? Just that handful of tags. I had so many threads, you know, to be cut off. Right, so that's my tags. Now, obviously, I don't have a whole bunch of different coloured upholstery fabrics. But I do have other fabrics. So, I mean, you know, I've said obviously the upholstery fabrics because I think they're really nice, you know, kind of thick fabrics to use. But if you haven't, then you could, of course, use others. Now, I've got this, which I think was a kind of curtain type fabric. So I could use that. I'm not saying it necessarily goes brilliantly on there. Yeah, oh, that's such a shame because I actually thought that would be a really lovely pocket. But yeah, I'm not really thinking it goes particularly brilliantly now. So yeah, I might just stick with these upholstery kinds of fabrics instead. So let's just have a look and kind of put them across. And then I think what we'll do, we'll just kind of like embellish them a little bit with some lace and things like that. And then I will probably just take them to the sewing machine and stick them, or not stick them, stitch them on with the sewing machine. So say for instance we had that, whoops, had that there. We could of course add some lace as a, you know, decorative kind of strip there across the middle. I mean, how pretty does that look? So I'm just going to take my Fabri-Tac and glue those bits down. Now I'm wondering really whether I should really stitch this with the sewing machine, but never mind, we're just going to, you know, wing it here. So just go in with a bit of Fabri-Tac here. Now I'm using the Fabri-Tac. You could use, you know, whatever glue that you find works best with your fabrics. And I know I've said this before, but you know, I mean, in the past, before I came across Fabri-Tac, you know, I just used to use my tacky glue for things like this, and it worked perfectly well. And I always use the Anita's tacky glue. So, you know, you don't have to go to special length to get special glues or anything like that. You know, you probably find that most glue, or, you know, certainly other glues will do the trick. So I'm going to put that down there. Now what I'm going to do is just cut this down approximately where I want the bottom to be. Now I could use actually my pinking shears, I think, probably. So yeah, just go across there with my pinking shears like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to trim off my lace from the edge, and then I'm just going to trim it across here, only because, you know, this has got that scalloped edge, which I just think looks a little bit strange, you know, on that pocket. So I think it kind of looks better for being a flat edge instead. And then to hold this in place, when I take it kind of to the sewing machine, I'm just going to glue a little tiny bit of fabric tack here. So kind of straight across the bottom. And that's just going to hold that down. So that when I get to the sewing machine, I just then stitch straight around the pocket. But that's holding it on. Otherwise, I'm likely to actually kind of forget which bits I've put, you know, if they get kind of messed up or anything. So that's the first one. So that looks pretty, doesn't it? So let's have a look and see what other ones that we've got. So I've got some green upholstery fabric, which is really nice on like this one, I think, because obviously we've got lots of green from the leaves. Again, thinking maybe, oh, how gorgeous does that look? So this one, obviously, I'm going to cut it here on the side. So, I mean, I'm not making a great job of this, it's got to be said, but, and then I'm just going to take it down slightly because it was a little bit too tall. You know, it was making quite a big pocket there. So like that. Okay, actually just put it that way round, and then it will just disguise my shoddy cutting by putting some lace across the, whoops, across the top there. Like that. Okie dokie. I mean, you don't have to bother with the lace, you know, you could just have the fabric. I think the lace just finishes it off quite nicely, otherwise it looks a little bit kind of plain, but, you know, completely optional if you wanted to bother with the lace at the top or not. Okay, like that. And then I'm just going to do exactly as we did with the last one, in that I'm just going to put a little bit of fabric tack across the bottom again, just holding that piece of fabric in place until I get to the sewing machine to then stitch that round. Okay, like that. Oops, I don't think I've made a very good job of doing that, but never mind, it looks okay. So I might trim that down after I've stitched it, to be honest, because I've got quite an overhang. Oh, excuse me. Now, unfortunately, these two have got the flowers kind of more at the bottom, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I want to actually even put pockets on here, because, you know, effectively I'm going to cover up the, you know, the prettiest part of the fabric. So I might keep those and do those, you know, something else with those. I've got this one here, which I've got this gorgeous colour. I don't know really what I would call this, maybe like a mink type colour. Thought it was going to look really good, but actually it didn't look great, did it? Let's just try this. It's a bit too small, unfortunately, to use that as a pocket. I've got the green. I think the green's going to look great. Oh, weirdly, that looks much better than I expected. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying, you know, definitely that I'll go for that, but it does look a lot better than I thought it would. I might be adding one too many colours there. What do you think? Yeah, I feel like that's one too many colours, but I have got here some brown Hessian. Let me just put that there for a minute. I don't know about this. I mean, I quite like the brown Hessian. It's not really the right colour brown, if I'm truthful. You know, which is kind of causing me to, yeah, hesitate a bit. Just having a look through my odds and ends here to see if I've got any other fabric or anything that I think will look better. No, not really. That's annoying, isn't it? I have got this blue lace. Well, I mean, that doesn't look too bad. Let me just see if we edge this, maybe. Oh, I can't find anything that's quite the right colour for this one, so that's annoying. So perhaps we'll come back to that one as well. Oh, I'm not doing very well, am I, here? Yeah. You just can never tell, can you? When you come on to do a video, you just you can't tell how it's going to go. So this one, I'm thinking this navy blue. It looks very pretty, doesn't it? Although I have got the teal as well, so let me just check. Just drink a bit of my tea. Oh, I'm not sure now. Let me see what other tags I've got left. Oh, I don't know. I think probably the teal. Let me just check. Yeah, and then perhaps we'll do something like this on here. Oh, it's a tough decision, it's got to be said. Did I try this on here? Yeah, I did, yeah. Okay. I wonder if I could do... Yeah, I might be able to get 2 pockets out of this one. So, right, let me just cut this one across here. Oh my goodness, what have I done with my pinking shears now? There's a lot of mess on my desk today. I seem to have done a lot of different themed videos lately. I'm not saying they've necessarily gone up in order, so you may think, oh, could have fooled me, you've not done any different themed videos, but I've obviously been filming a lot of different themed videos, which, you know, of course produces a lot of mess everywhere. Right, so yeah, thinking that one now. Let's just have a look at this. Sorry, just had to finish my tea there. Kind of depends really, I suppose, what tab we're going to have. I'm thinking we could have that sort of tab like that. Yeah, maybe like that. So I'm just going to cut this down in half. So if I just take that to that sort of width. Okay. Okay, right, and then again I'm going to put it on this end edge where I've, you know, done that very shoddy cutting, made it look quite lopsided. Oh, do you know, I've had such a lot of fun with these fabric tags. I've cut some other bases to be able to do some more. I don't know whether I'll definitely, you know, do them on video or, you know, not, because obviously it may become a bit tedious watching me do endless amounts of fabric tags. But, you know, when you kind of do something that you've not done for a while, and then when you do it, you think, oh, I'd forgotten how much I liked doing that. I've had that experience with these fabric tags. So, yeah, definitely, you know, I'd quite like to do some more. Let me know below if you would like to do some more with me or not. Okay. So, yeah, and again, just going to put that bit of glue down the bottom. I mean, the glue down the bottom, it just helps hold it in place. I didn't want to glue it completely on because, you know, I do want the edges, you know, stitched rather than glued, but it just holds it in place whilst you take it to the sewing machine. So it just makes it easier for sewing. And again, obviously, as you can see, I've got to trim that down, but I'll trim that down. Actually, I will do it now. I was going to say after I've stitched it, but actually I will do it now. So just like that. Okay. There we go. Like that. And for this one, because I've got this ivory lace, which I, you know, wasn't 100% sure whether it really goes or not, then I think what I'll do is put some ivory lace as the tab for this. So let's just take another bit down. Don't need it to be huge, you know, in terms of the depth. So something like that, I think, is fine. And then what I'll do for this one, I'm just going to glue this on. And then what I'll do, I'll just stitch across it as well. So it's been kind of glued in the first instance, and then I'll just do a stitch as well, straight across it probably, just to kind of hold it secure. Okay. So like that. Okie dokie. Oops. Forgot that my pocket wasn't attached. So that will be the tab there. And although it looks a bit out of proportion and things, by the time it's got some stitching, and I might put some bling or something, it will actually look quite pretty. So, you know, well, hopefully it will. I'm saying it will. It might not. In which case I shall just retract what I've said. But hopefully it will look quite pretty. So we've got the navy blue. Yeah, I'm not loving the navy blue after all. I thought I would, but yeah, maybe not. So we've got this one, which I thought might look quite pretty on here. Yeah, thinking maybe on this. I've also got this big wide lace, which, let me just try this, whether we'd like a lace pocket on this one. Now the only thing is with some of the lace is sometimes lace can go a little bit baggy. I mean, this feels like it's gone baggy already, and obviously it's not even been used. So it's just, you know, another thing to kind of bear in mind or keep in mind when you're using certain fabrics or laces or, you know, things like that. You could end up with it being, you know, baggier than you'd kind of hoped, really. But, you know, I mean, hopefully it would still be fine, but it's just something to kind of bear in mind. I mean, that looks very pretty, doesn't it? So, yeah. I'm just going to glue this down. So it's a bit tricky to glue onto here because this is obviously quite wholly lace, but hopefully. So I'll just pop that across the top. And then I'm just going to snip this down here. Okay. Now this one, I might even have to glue it on the sides as well to try and pull it tight before I get to the sewing machine. The reason being is because, as we just said about that lace being quite baggy, if I leave that to get to the sewing machine, the chances are I'm not going to kind of, you know, manage to pull that very tight by stitching, if you see what I mean. So I've just kind of pulled it tight here on the gluing, and then, you know, it will be stitched as well. So like that. Okay. Now, obviously, again, as you can see, I need to trim this down, but I'll do that in a minute. So yeah. And actually I will just put, I think, a little tab on here so that when I take them to the sewing machine, you know, I probably do the tabs at the same time. So let's just see if we want to have the tab maybe from the matching lace. So okay, right, like that. So I mean, that looks quite pretty, doesn't it? It's kind of a short sort of stubby tab, but I think that works okay. So just pop that down like that. Okay, and then just turn it over. Oops, I've picked up some glue on the back of here. Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. Like that. Okay. So yeah, looks quite nice, doesn't it? Right, we've just got a couple more left. So I've got this one here. What was the one that I cut in half? Surely I had more than that, didn't I? That's not going to make much of a pocket, is it? Did I have another piece? Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, that's too small. It's a little bit narrow for that tag. It's a shame, isn't it? Well, I mean, it does kind of fit. It's a little bit tight, you know. I'd have to kind of make sure that I really am pretty good when I sew it. Let me just have a look, because I've also got this beautiful lace. Which I thought would have been wide enough to do a pocket, but it's not really, if I'm truthful. So, yeah, it's a bit rubbish. What if we have that like that, and then let's just try a bit of this. I mean, now I'm going like lace crazy, but it's quite pretty, isn't it, to have that layered up effect. So, right, let's do that, shall we, for this one? So, yeah, we're just going to get really kind of like fun with our lace. So, lots of lace layering on this one. So, I'm just going to pop all of this down here. Okay. Check that's the right way up. Okay. So we've got that one. Let's just cut that down here on the edge. Just going to use my pinking shears. Not that I really need to, but you know, just so they're kind of like extra neat. And then I'm just going to pop this across here. Now, do we want it further down, or do we want it at the top? I think probably at the top, actually. So yeah, what I might do for this one is just cut that header piece off. I mean, I just don't really like the scalloped edge that much, to be honest. I mean, I think it's pretty, but I think it can look a bit strange. So yeah, just cut it off. Right, okay. So then what we do is we just take our fabric tack again. Just go right the way across here. Okie dokie. Oops. And then here, oh my goodness, this is only kept that like that because I rather liked that edge, although I didn't like the big scalloped edge. I quite like that edge from that underneath lace. So that way we've left it kind of showing. So let's just trim that down here again with the pinking shears. So it hopefully looks quite, you know, quite pretty. So then we can just pop this on. Now, this one, I'm going to maybe, again, glue a little bit at the edge. Just, you know, just like the baggy lace, but for the opposite reason this time. So it's not necessarily this is bagging around. It's more there's not really enough fabric here to reach across. So if I kind of misjudge it on one of the sides, I could find that then I don't actually have enough, you know, to do the whole pocket. So I've just glued it completely now so that it's actually, you know, properly attached. So yeah, right, okay. So should we put a couple of tabs on before we go to the sewing machine? Obviously we have already started putting the tabs on one or two, but we can just see whether we want to have any other tabs. So this one, just going to, yeah, take this down here. Probably take that down slightly. Right. I mean, you know, this might not really look like a very nice tab anyway, but thinking, you know, it just ties it in, doesn't it? Colour-wise, it keeps it all together. So just take that slightly smaller. Okay, oops. Yeah, like that, I think. And then just wondering whether we might want to have some more of this lace just going across there. I mean, it's just kind of like the continuity, really. It's, you know, tying the two bits in, the pocket and the tab. So yeah, I quite like that, to be honest. I might just do this slightly narrower because it feels to me like it's slightly too big still. Sometimes it's hard to get just the right size, you know, they go suddenly from being, you know, too big to then just like titchy and looking way too small, but hopefully this is around about right. So just going to glue this down. Like that. Glue on the other side. Like that. Okay, and then we'll just pop this bit of lace across here, and then, you know, just like we said with the other one, you know, I'll probably then just put like a little running stitch through across that top tab as well, so that will kind of be held down, you know, doubly with a sort of little stitch there. So that's that one. Right, we've done that one, we've done that one. Oh, we had done the tabs on a few of them actually. So yeah, we were doing better than I thought actually with the tabs. Now this one here, again, we could just use this as, you know, for another tab. So again, just take this down here like that. Take it down slightly. Okay. And actually, I'm wondering whether we could do like that. So that's quite nice, isn't it? So yeah, right, and I'm going to keep this scalloped actually for this one. Yeah, let's kind of see a bit different. So quite a bit of glue because I want it kind of glued on properly, you know, properly held in place on there like that, and just put that down there. So we've just kind of layered up, you know, some of that lace on top of the fabric. Drop that down here. Okay, I might just bring it down slightly. I felt like it was a bit long. Like that. Okay, and then over here. Oh. Obviously more glue on my finger than there was on the tag. Oh gosh, come on. Like that, and then just here. Like that. Like that. Oops. Keep forgetting that my pockets aren't stitched on. There we go. So that looks pretty, doesn't it? So, okay. And then the last one is this one, which, have we got some of that blue? Oh, I don't know what I've done with that. That's weird. I must have no more of the this left. Oh, that's fine. Right. Okay. So, shall we do this here as the tab? I'm not sure now. But actually, I am wondering whether we should have some of this at the bottom of that pocket. Just to finish that off. Or maybe even some of this one. Oh, I don't know now. Oh, it's so tough to decide, isn't it, sometimes? I mean, these are just a bunch of lace bits that I happen to have laying around, but, you know, it's great if you can use what's on the desk, isn't it? So just take this. Okay, quite like the mixing, you know, the mixing of the lace. So I'm going to cut this down so that hopefully I've got enough for a tab and for, you know, putting at the bottom of that pocket. So going to glue this one down here. Looks really pretty. And now I've done that on this one, actually, I'm thinking maybe I might have to do this on all of them. or some of the others anyway, because I really like that sort of line of lace at the bottom. It looks really pretty, doesn't it? And then we're going to have this as a tab. So again, just going to take this down very slightly because it feels a bit too long. So like that. Okay, and just glue this one down here. Okay. Like that. And just a bit here. Like that. Okay. Yeah, so that looks fine, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm just going to bring them back in. I know I'm like messing about here, but obviously since I just tried that little bit of lace at the bottom of that pocket, I thought it looked so pretty that I just want to check that I don't want to have that on some of the others. I mean, maybe like this pocket tag here, that would maybe look quite pretty, doesn't it? So yeah, let's just put a line of lace here. Now I was going to trim this off at the bottom, but in hindsight I might leave it dangling, and then we'll have this bit dangling as well, if you see what I mean. So I'm just going to snip that off there, and then I'm just going to snip this down the side. Okay, so although it's hanging over at the bottom, it's not hanging over now at the sides, which, you know, just looked a bit scruffy. So that's better, isn't it? Right, okay. So that's that one, and then we've got one more, this one. It's the only thing with using kind of velvety. It's, you know, very prone to picking up the bits, obviously, so... Okey-dokey. And obviously don't forget, this is going to be stitched here as well, so you know, we're not actually going to just have glue. It is going to actually be, you know, stitched on as well. So I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and then I'll come back. Right, I'm back from the sewing machine. So as you can see, I've stitched around. Now I've mucked it up slightly and I've got this kind of slightly ruched type thing going on here. Again, you know, that doesn't really worry me. I mean, to be honest, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, I'm not brilliant with my sewing machine, so these types of things are bound to happen to me. I did then try and perfect my technique by, oh, I don't know, by perhaps these ones, I think. Yeah, where I stitched up this way first, and then I took it out and stitched around there. And that then just eliminates this happening. So if you were kind of, you know, fussy or, you know, a bit particular and kind of did not like that, which, you know, fair enough, obviously, then, yeah, that's a kind of get around, is just kind of go up the one side and then take it out and then go round and up the other side. But, you know, like I say, I mean, I don't really mind, to be honest. It's all fine and it looks okay. I mean, you know, it's going in a junk journal after all. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So just trimming the threads off. Again, just shocked at how many threads this produces. It's like shocking. Oops. Yeah. Okay. And then I did go through the tabs as well, which of course creates a little bit more in the way of threads as well. So yeah, we've got a few threads to trim off. So like that, okie dokie. And then we just want to kind of finish them off and just decorate them up a little bit. Now, obviously you could use paper elements here. You could, you know, put some labels and things like that on. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of the number tabs and things would look quite pretty on these. I don't know really whether I will bother. I have to say I'm not loving the look of this. So I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue here. Oops. To glue that down. Just, you know, I'm not enjoying the way it's kind of sticking up a little bit. So you may find that you've got a few things like that you'll need to do, but hopefully nothing kind of too major. So I've got some labels here, which I'm just going to try. Okay. Oh, I have got a glossy accented one actually, which could look quite nice on here. Oh, or even like on the lace, to be honest. That looks rather pretty, doesn't it? So let's just pop that on. So this is just one of my labels from my labels set 2, but I have cut this out and I've glossy accented over it. So that's why it's, you know, sheeny, if the camera's even picking that up. But yeah, it looks very pretty, doesn't it? And then just finish it off maybe with a bow or something at the top on the, you know, on the tab. So like that. Okay. And then I might just see whether we need some bling, because of course everything's always better with bling. Let's just trim this down here on this edge. Get rid of like those little edge kind of particles. Okay, and we just see, oops. Sorry, I'm having another one of those fingers and thumbs days today. I mean, honestly, the amount of times I have to say that is unbelievable, but yeah, just all the time I have those. Okay, and just, oops. Oh my goodness. What's going on? Right, let me try that again, because obviously I flipped that around then. Right. Second time lucky. Right, there we go. So, I mean, how gorgeous does that look, to be honest? It just looks so pretty, doesn't it? And then you could just pop something into the pocket. Now, I have got some printed journal cards here. I'm not sure really that I've got anything quite suitable. Oh, there we go. That one looks gorgeous, doesn't it? That's just from my vintage ephemera. I think it is set 5. How beautiful is that? Love it. So let's put that to one side. I haven't inked any of these up. Obviously, you know, probably could do with inking up around the back. But that being said, I mean, I have backed them onto ivory cards, so it's not like they're glaring white or anything. So it doesn't really bother me, to be honest, too much if they're, you know, if they're left just plain. Let's do a different coloured one so that we're mixing it up a bit. So let's just see here. So just having a look through the labels again, you know, I mean, maybe have a label. It doesn't necessarily even need a label or anything really. It looks quite pretty just as it is, but you know, you could add a label, or I've got some of my book plates here. Maybe something like a book plate would be quite cute. Oh, they're my big book plates. They're not my coloured ones. Well, they're normal book plates, you know, normal coloured ones. You get big and small, but I've only got big ones here. I haven't printed off any of the small ones for a while. Right, let me just have a quick flick through my bits behind my desk and see whether I've got any other. Oh, what have I got here? Well, it's just typical, isn't it? I don't seem to have anything suitable at all. I've got some of my number tabs. Maybe a number tab or something like that. That looks quite pretty, doesn't it? So I think for this one, I might just ink this up, because I did say, you know, that I hadn't inked any up. So let's just ink this one up for a bit of a different look. And just ink around the fabric. And I know I did say this before, but I mean, generally the fabric takes to the, you know, the inking up pretty well, doesn't it? I mean, how gorgeous does that look? So scrummy, isn't it? So yeah, we could just have the number tab maybe on that side. And I'm just going to hot glue this down just for speed, because of course I'm doing the video. But you know, you could use just your normal glue. Like that, okay. Oh my goodness, I mean, that looks so yummy, doesn't it? And those number tabs, they're just the number tabs, you know, from my shop. Oh, that's gorgeous. So again, just going to ink this up. Oh my goodness, talk about heavy-handed with the ink, but never mind. Oh, never mind. Right, it's very white on the back, so we'll just go around again with the ink on the back. Okay. Like that. And I'm actually thinking, now the only thing is, I will just mention this actually, if you make lace pockets like this and you don't line them with any kind of, you know, other fabric, it is quite difficult sometimes getting your pieces in and out, because of course they get stuck slightly on the lace. So this one here, it's quite a snug fit in that pocket. So I'm just going to trim it down, because obviously if it wasn't quite so snug, it maybe wouldn't get quite so caught on all of the, you know, holes of the lace. So that's another thing that's just worth bearing in mind. If you're making the lace pockets, you know, you may want to have something that's a little bit easier to get in and out of the pocket, if you see what I mean. You know, if it's a tight fit, you're just possibly going to struggle, because it's going to get caught up slightly when you're putting it in and out. So yeah, I mean, it's just like something to bear in mind, really. So we've got that one. Now, I have got some of my little wax seals, which I'm thinking, could we have a little wax seal, or maybe even just a wax seal on the, you know, on the journal card. And that's quite cute, isn't it? I'm just going to check if I've got one that's perhaps a better colour. Maybe that one. So I'll just ink this up a bit. Yeah, that looks quite cute, doesn't it? So we'll just, oops, pop that on. Okay. So just using the wax seal as a little tab there for the journal card. And then do we want to have like a bit of bling or anything like that on the tag itself? I'm thinking, do we want any across here? Yeah, should we do that? So just take that down there. Okay. Like that. Oh my goodness, this is like really tricky because it's very long. It's like a little snake, little worm kind of thing, like just hard to glue down. Okay, right. Oh, how pretty does that look? I love it. And then that obviously can go into the pocket. So yeah, love how that looks. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's do this one here. So we've got, again, just a complete different look. Now this one's overhanging slightly, so I will go in and just trim this down slightly here. You know, just so as it looks slightly tidier, really. So yeah, a bit of a tidy up onto the edge. Oops. Okay, right. And now I have got, on this one, I've got the same kind of thing going on as what I had on the first one, where I've got this lace sort of sticking up here, which personally that's just irritating me. So I'm going to just glue that down, and I'm just going to, yeah, hot glue that, a slight bit of hot glue, just to make sure it's glued down. Just, you know, that was irritating me. So, you know, worth kind of doing things like that. Right, this one, thinking could have this label. Again, just going to ink around that fabric. So, yeah. Like that. Now, do we like this here, like in the centre of here? I could put a couple of brads onto here, and that would look really, really pretty. Or we could have it, you know, just a half a label, how I really like doing my labels. We could have it kind of here in the centre, again, perhaps with a brad or something. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? This is just one of my button card printables. Now, unfortunately, this has got stuff on the back of it, so it's not ideal. Got these from my oh my goodness, what's it called? Might be Victorian Springtime. Oh my goodness, they're quite pretty in there, aren't they? Yeah, I love those. So, right, let's just ink these up a bit. They are just a white on the back, so I'll just go around and, you know, get them coloured. There we go. Okay. They look so pretty in there, don't they? So I'm now wondering, just because to me they seem to have like some I don't know, touches of this green. I don't even know whether they do really, to be honest, or whether that's just my imagination, but I feel like they do. So that's good enough, isn't it? If you feel like they do, then they maybe do. No, they don't necessarily, but yeah, I just feel like they do. So I'm wondering whether we could even, oh gosh, no. I was thinking, oh, perhaps have one of these, but actually that just looks awful, doesn't it? Unless we have that kind of, no. Oh, I thought that would be lovely, but yeah, as soon as I put it on there, I thought, oh my goodness, that looks hideous. Absolutely hideous. Right. Just got this wax seal, so let's just see whether we want this anywhere. I can't decide still where to have this thingy-me-bob. Maybe just across the centre like that. I'm not even going to bother with the brads, just being really lazy, but just going to glue that down straight across that centre of the back. So like that. Okay. Oh, I love how that looks. Right, now I would put this on here because I actually quite like it, but this is quite thick already because we've got obviously that upholstery fabric and the lace. So I feel like it's a little bit too thick to kind of take that really. So I'm just going to put these into that pocket. We'll just kind of see then how it looks. You know, whether we could have like a wax seal maybe on one of these. I mean, that's kind of quite nice, isn't it? And then maybe, let's just see. I mean, that's kind of quite nice. Yeah, perhaps we'll just have that. What do we think? Oh, there's so many times when I just think, oh, if only I was live and I could hear you guys. Oh, it would be so handy. Let's try this greeny one. I mean, that one's probably a bit too small to actually be, you know, looking like anything very much, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I quite like that one, to be honest. So let's just pop that one down there like that. And then do we or don't we want the wax seal? I mean, it kind of doesn't need it, but then I take it away and I think, oh, actually it does look better. So I mean, it's that same old thing, isn't it? You know, sometimes just don't try it in the first place because you always do think it looks better. No, I normally say the opposite, don't I? Like, if you think it might look good, always try it. So yeah, let's stick with what we normally say. Always do try it if you think there's a possibility it's going to look good. Because, you know, invariably it probably does, you know. You're probably right. It probably would look good. So we've got that. Now I'm just going to see whether I just want a little bit of bling on here. Now I just need to locate where I've put that little bit of bling. There it is. I mean, I just love having bling, to be honest. It just always is a nice addition. So again, just going to take that down. Right, okay. Bit of a military operation again to put it across here. Always tricky when it's a longish piece. Got that whole kind of like worm thing going on again. I swear it's like moving around a bit, but anyway. There we go. Oh my goodness, how yummy does that look? So we'll probably leave it there for today because I think this has probably actually taken quite a long time now and I don't want to be here kind of all day, you know, boring you to tears just doing the same old thing. But don't they just look scrumptious? I absolutely love how they've turned out. So yeah, I really hope that you like them. I'm not sure which one's my favourite, and I know I kind of say this all the time, but you know, I don't know. Yeah. There's things I like about all of them. If I'm truthful, probably this I really love. It's very kind of Victorian looking and very rich colours. That being said, I quite like this. It looks quite Cinderella-ish, you know, with the sort of pretty pale pink. And that being said, I also really love this. So, yeah, don't know which one I love, but or which one I love best. Yeah, let me know below which one is your favourite, or you know, if you don't like any of them, that's fine, let me know that too. So yeah, hope that you like them, hope you feel inspired to make some of your own little pocket fabric tags. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much then. Bye.